Are we in a simulation or not? The case has been made a lot recently that we are in a simulation. So I would like to make the case that we are not in a simulation. But first, let's look at the hypothesis of why we're in a simulation. And the main argument is that let's look at our technology today, and in particular the video games and the simulations that we run. So we run a bunch of simulations, but one of them is for entertainment purposes, and they are video games. And the resolution and the capacity and the abilities of what you can do in them is increasing at exponential rate. So it's easy to project that maybe in 100 years we'll be able to do video games that are almost indistinguishable from what we can perceive of reality. Fair enough. So the point is like, what are the odds, speaking, because we run so much simulations, what are the odds that where we are right now is base reality? So it's like we run more simulation than there is reality. So probabilistically speaking, there's more chances that we are in a simulation than we are in base reality. At least that's the argument of Nick Bostrom, the one who put this idea forward and supported by Elon Musk as well. But the great mistake that it does is make the... I mean, what does it imply? Let's say if this is the case. It implies, one, that either people will be willing to put themselves into such a simulation. But if so, why is there such a thing as pain and suffering in our everyday reality? Or they are plunged into this simulation without their consent, so a bit like the Matrix. And that the natural course of evolution of technology is that eventually there's gonna be an overlord, robotic AI or something of the sort who's gonna take over everyone and plunge them into this state of permanent simulation. But it dramatically reduced the odds from just thinking that, what are the chances that we are in base reality? Because there are some other conditions that hasn't been really thought about very much. And so whenever a hypothesis of the sort is being put forward, one have to look at the origin of such hypothesis. So here the origin is the philosopher, Oxford professor Nick Bostrom. So I'm familiar with his work, and I've also met him in person as part of the London Futurists. And so he's in charge of the Future of Humanity Institute. So they try to make objective scenarios for the future. But that being said, how objective can you actually be when you form hypothesis? Potentially, even just the formulation of a hypothesis come with some biases, because what are your interests in your everyday life is gonna curate the direction of your mind into what will you be able to conceive of. So it's not surprising that, let's say, someone of the personality of Nick Bostrom and Elon Musk support this theory, which I will qualify both of those personality as like hyper Asperger. So people that are hyper left brain and potentially, let's say, socially detached, but not very emotionally involved into everyday life. So you could say, well, those are potentially good candidates for being objective when it comes to understanding the nature of reality. But that being said, they also have a very strong emotional bias towards technology and their love for technology. So of course, let's say their belief system, potentially we all have a religion or a belief system that, we're not exactly sure, but, we tend towards to because we want to, because it's, let's say, so it's soothing for us to believe that in order for us to have a comfort, a peace of mind. But in a way, I see this simulation hypothesis as not that different from being a spiritual or religious belief, really. But that being said, the issue that I find with it is that it positions itself as a very serious theory, except it hasn't really been scrutinized as much, especially on the other side. And I think it comes to the fact that in our modern day life, we have lost this ability to be really critical of something, but in a very pragmatic and constructive manner. So it's easy to go on YouTube and Facebook and make comments like, "Oh, this is crap, this is bullshit," but to form a very elaborate and a well-built argumentation for deconstructing theories that are being put forward, we don't get to see this that often, actually. We're often in the realm of shallowness, unfortunately. And there's lots of repetition, there's lots of social biases in the way that people support or demote a theory because of their ideological belonging to such and such heritage, let's say. So if your friends are in the Silicon Valley, you will tend to believe something. If your friends are hippies, you will tend to believe something else. So I try my best not to fall into any of those traps, but I don't see out there enough of the case being made of the opposite. So to add more things to it, I believe potentially there is a problem with the definition of what is reality. Because for me, the definition of reality is that it's all that exists. If it doesn't exist, nothing does not exist, let's say. Nothing is not a thing. In fact, the zero or the time of nothing didn't come up until, I believe, I'm not sure, but 14th century. And it was considered a complete aberration. And it's an abstraction of the mind that actually doesn't really occur in reality. The idea that there's nothing. So the idea that there's something that is unreal is just a leap of the mind. That for me is akin to a delusion. It's like when you believe something that's not real, you're in a mental contradiction. You're in a sense a little bit crazy. So schizophrenic, for instance, we consider they're detached from reality because their perspective on reality is not that accurate. So after, I will argue that we're all delusionals, but it's all, maybe the game of truth-seeking is to be as little delusional as possible. But if you think that we are in a simulation, and literally a simulation, I will argue that this is delusional, because maybe, potentially, you could say that your perspective on reality is being manipulated, much like if you were in a video game. But that's a very different case than to say that reality is a simulation. You could say reality has the features of a simulation, much like actually the Hindus believe that, we are in Shiva's dream, or the Christian, the world is the world, So God is has spoken, and then the world came, and the etymology is the same. So there is the sense that maybe life or the world is sort of a narrative, or is akin to a narrative. And as better to say it's akin to, it's like, than it exactly is. And I think that's the problem with lots of those theories, or even metaphysical belief, is that if you believe that the metaphor is the real thing, you're mostly misguided. Because all we can have as a perspective of reality, and even worse, they're just a metaphor, they're just like umbrellas to encompass a whole bunch of things. But if you think that if you mistake the words for the thing itself, this is where you enter the realm of delusion. That's why I do not believe that we are in a simulation. Potentially, the world have some of the aspect of what we could say simulation, but a simulation that we run today, kind of like a game, except it's not a really fun game that we're playing, not for everyone at least. Maybe it's a badly designed game. And you could say as well that all you see is an interface. It's like all you see with your eyes, what you smell. It's a limited frame, a limited view into the whole thing. So in the sense, it's the same as if you were to play a video game. It's like you only see a little bit of the world that's there, and you're navigating through that. But I would argue that it's our simulation, obviously, that looks like reality, not the other way around. And I think that's another problem that I see recently in, let's say, ontological philosophy. It's like we believe that we can modify reality as well. And it's sort of a hubristic thought if you think about it. Like it's like saying that, let's say as a kid you play Legos, and all the atoms and the objects that you have at disposition is like your Legos. But it's like you create the Legos. No, not really. I mean, the Lego box has been given to you, but you don't create them. If you want, you chop them up. So there is the reality that has been given to us, and that there's no way for us to be able to construct something new out of it. It's just the base from which you do something with. Also, another argument is like I believe that increasingly as a culture, as a society, we are more and more disconnected from reality. So when you have a trauma or post-traumatic disorder, PTSD or complex trauma. So it's like you have anxiety for a long time. Your perspective on reality is distorted by your very trauma, because you will pay extreme attention to what is potentially a threat to you. And it's my perspective, but guys like Elon Musk and Nick Bostrom, probably when they were young, is the type of guys that were like hyper smart, but could have been bullied. I mean, Elon Musk, we know he was bullied. And so when this happens, you tend to retreat into the imaginary world. So in a simulation of your own making, a daydream, if you like. And people who have been traumatized a lot, you can see like a sort of emptiness in their eyes. yet it's also what allows them the capacity to think beyond, and it's got some advantages as well to be dissociated. In fact, there's lots of drugs that dissociate you, so which allows you in a way to think in abstract terms, but yet it also disconnects you from the ground, from what actually is happening. And so there's nothing as dissociative as an ideology than to think that we are literally in a simulation. Yeah, I cannot think of anything else. So when we say a psychotic, paranoid, psychotic, schizophrenic break is oftenly, I'm in the Truman Show, this is a simulation, nothing is real. So in a way, potentially, the fact that we are not even too suspicious of this type of belief being put forward, and we just accept, it's like, yeah, okay. It seems to me that we are there's so much madness going on to the world that we're living nowadays, with genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and so much potential and abstract threats that is being submitted to us, that eventually we all dissociate. It's like we are all in a state of complex trauma. So complex trauma is not like the one specific event that traumatizes you. It's on a constant basis, in a constant anxiety. So it's like anxiety on the long term. So you don't really notice it on an everyday basis. That slowly but surely dissociates your mind until you're like completely disconnected from the earth, from the ground, as we say, and you don't really know. You don't have an anchor on reality. So that's it for me. I don't really know what I'm doing. It's my first video that I'm posting here. But let me know what you think in the comments, and have a lovely day.